Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Nuance Needed podcast. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Sam.
I'm really excited about this episode. We just started chatting and we had to be like, we need to record now.
Hit the button. Yeah, because we, as per usual, we have many, many thoughts and feelings. So why don't you lead us in to what we will be chatting about?
So someone kindly sent us this request. We're always looking for new podcast topics. So please DM us, email us at podcast@therapyforwomencenter.com. But we're really excited because someone asked if we could talk about sort of like the cool girl phenomenon and not being cool or trying too hard. And this is right up Sam and my alley because we were not cool growing up. And yeah, I think this is such a fascinating cultural analysis of misogyny and generational and mental health of trying too hard and all of that.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate convergence of like all these different issues and problems. Why don't we start here, like for you right off the bat? Like what does this idea of cool girl evoke for you?
I mean, it evokes a lot more when I was younger because I do think it is something that comes up when you're young. But I talk about this, but like it's very embarrassing culturally to admit how much you desperately wanted to be cool growing up. And at certain points, I think I was so convinced like I would be happy if I were just cool. Like I was obsessed with being cool. And part of that also had to do with I moved so much. So the quicker I could like assimilate, the better. So I very quickly learned what people were wearing. And I will never forget when I moved. So I moved to New York from New Jersey and I moved in 7th grade. And I thought I was, I wore like my coolest outfit and I was still wearing stuff from like Limited 2. I remember I was wearing these like jeans that had like lavender sparkles on them and also like a lavender faux fur cuff.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And I thought they were so cool. And I wore them like one of my first days of school. And I remember, so I moved to New York. I moved to Scarsdale, which was like outside of the city. So everyone there was already wearing like Abercrombie, North Face.
Lacoste.
Yes, Lacoste. Oh my God. And I remember a couple girls looking at me and being like, what on God's earth are you wearing?
No.
And I was so mortified. And I really became obsessed with trying to fit in and trying to wear the right clothes and just desperate to be popular. I didn't care whether I liked the people or not. It just was like, I literally would have like sold my soul to be popular. Which made, like, the more you want to be popular, the less popular you are. To the point, Sam, where I dated someone in high school, like my serious high school boyfriend. I only dated because he played football and he was popular.
You literally were like, I am going to brand myself.
Yes. And then Sam, it didn't even work because I was like so unpopular. That like he kind of like fell out with some of those people and
because he dated you?
I mean, it wasn't like officially that. But it was just like we spent a lot of time together and he just like started caring less about that. And that was really upsetting to me, obviously, because that was a big reason why I dated him. And then I like couldn't break up with him. I kept trying to break up with him. And to the point where this is like the picture I'll paint you is for prom, we went to the cooler, after party and stuff, but we weren't invited on like the limo with everyone. So we like drove ourselves to prom and we weren't invited to take pictures with everyone. But then we like went to the after party.
So what I'm hearing is that this has been a lifelong quest for you.
Yeah.
I have so much reflection on your story.
Yeah.
Especially with you now having like such like a prominent space on social media.
I know, but I do not feel cool
Right.
At all, obviously. Not that I aspire to be anymore.
Right.
Like, I really don't care anymore about that. And I think actually in a weird way, like having a prominent-ish social media following has made me be like, this is all so fake.
Well, and also, like, let's all preface. We've done some work here.
Yeah.
This is not us being like, can we be cool? Like, no. We have a podcast, so clearly we don't care about that anymore.
Yes.
However, see, for me, we moved from Arizona to New York when I was barely 9. And I got very lucky to have gone through essentially like last part of elementary school all the way through senior year with kind of like the same, not the same group of friends, but a very familiar group of friends. However, I would say that I was like never a part of one particular group.
Yeah.
I had a lot of different friends from like a lot of different groups. I never touched like the cool stratosphere. I never got there, but I had good enough friends and a good amount of friends that I just knew I wasn't, and I accepted that.
That's good.
If that makes sense. Like I kind of was just like, well, you can't fight it. Like it was 2004. My hair looked like I just shoved a wet hand in an electrical socket.
Yeah.
Like I just looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, this is what we're working with. And she will not be dating a quarterback. So it's kind of an interesting like opposite experience because I just kind of in 7th grade, which was like the worst year of my life. If someone was like, you are waking up on the morning of like September 7th, 2003, and you're reliving 7th grade, I would be like, where's the abort button?
Yeah.
Like, get me out of here. I can't do that again. I just kind of like accepted that people liked me. I had friends. I had normal like drama with friends and things would happen and I had like 1 or 2 falling outs, and I think that's kind of like par for the course.
Yeah.
Like growing up. But I just knew I was so far from what like the popular cool kids were that I was like, this is fine.
Yeah.
I'll just be me. But being on social media has kind of like triggered some of those old feelings of kind of like not being enough.
Yes.
And being like, oh, but like this person has like a cooler following and they have like a cooler, vibe and aesthetic, and kind of still trying to like chase that. And I've had to check that in myself to understand like where that's coming from.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had that same experience.
Oh my God, definitely. I think one thing that comes up for me is this whole idea on social media of you have to pretend like, especially like in 2018, 2019, a lot of times when like therapists specifically were blowing up or influencers were blowing up, you had to kind of just be like, oh, I don't know what happened. This just happened to me. I didn't want this. I just was sharing my story and boop. Oh my goodness, I have 1 million followers. People just are interested in this. And I killed myself to gain a following. Like there was a year in 2018 where my husband Mike was like, you are unwell with how insane you are about trying to grow a following on social media. You need to get it together. I don't know if I can be with you.
Oh my God, Mike.
Like I was obsessed, and I would just be obsessed all day long talking about whether my post did well or it didn't do well and how other people's posts were doing well. And I had really good stuff to share and I deserved to be seen, and like super self-centered insanity.
Was it because of the business though? Or was it also like this kind of need inside?
I think it was both, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because like my business was super small back then. Like it was just me. I mean, I've always had like a pretty intense ambition and drive, and like don't tolerate not doing well very easily. So I think that was a big part of it also, is I really saw it as like, even if it wasn't growing the practice, it was like, I want to be able to get opportunities to do things, like to write a book maybe one day or things like that. But it was really bad for a long time. And when my account finally started growing, and I remember I hit like 10,000 followers, I was like, okay, I'll just be happy if I hit 10,000 followers. And then it's like 20 and 30 and 50 and 100 and 200. And I was on that hamster wheel for a lot of time. I got a lot better at it. And obviously then it did become sort of like growing the business. But it really wasn't until I got pregnant and I became completely incapacitated and I couldn't post that my whole relationship with social media really shattered. And I had to like rebuild a healthier relationship with it. And now I truly don't care about growing or I lose followers like every month or so. My number goes down. But yeah, I was very frustrated by the narrative a long time ago. It's now kind of like cool, I think, to like want a following. And now there's so many accounts of like how to grow your following that
coaches coaching.
That's clearly like different. Because whenever I would see like someone post that they hit 10K or something, they'd be like, I don't know how this happened. And I remember hitting 10K and being like, I killed myself. I had another Instagram account that I tried to grow. I shut that down. I pivoted. And I know you did a bunch of pivoting and figuring it out too.
Oh yeah. I came to the game a little bit late.
Yeah.
I started posting most consistently like very end of 2019 because I had my business at the time. That was about when we started the planner business that I had. We did like trainings and things like virtual trainings for companies during COVID. And I would get like, I was really wrapped around the axle when we wouldn't grow. And we didn't grow like for the longest time. And the really interesting tidbit is when I started having like more meteoric growth was after the business ended and I went on my own.
Yeah.
I think that's something we could dive into in its own way. But when I was just doing what I was good at, which is like talking and communicating and articulating and kind of using myself as the product. And that would have been very, very beginning of 2023 when I started to post in that way. So really it's only just been like 2 years.
Yeah.
I have a much bigger following on TikTok.
Yeah.
But so much when the business ended, I did not feel cool at all.
Yeah.
I felt like the biggest loser because I was like, here I had this whole dream and it didn't work out. And there's a million reasons why it didn't work out. But yeah, I think what actually helped was when I started posting just like me naturally.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
Like I was just kind of doing things more like off the cuff, authentic.
Yep.
And that's when people really like felt attached to it or liked it or wanted to be a part of it, whatever. But I think we're both kind of touching upon the same issue here, which is this idea of like trying or not trying.
Yeah.
Do you try to not try?
Yeah.
Do you not try to try? Like I think it is this very confusing game that
only women play, I think, too. I mean, maybe men play it a little bit, you could argue, but men are not penalized.
No.
Men have the
latitude to get on a podcast and say whatever thought filters in between their ears. And everybody just kind of throws their hands up of like, oh yeah, of course you said something absolutely unhinged. Why wouldn't you? And then we have to be much more strategic and considerate of things. And which like at the same way though, like you should be.
Yeah.
If you have a public platform, you should be coming prepared. You should be prepared to be respectful, accommodating, doing your best to like be aware of issues and not offend, right? Like you should be being that way. But women are held to an impossible standard and men just are not.
Yeah.
But like this idea of like being cool, I think it's so layered and so complex because you have generational stuff at play. You have social media at play now. Whereas I think being popular was this thing that kind of like, it used to just peak in high school. It was this very like unique experience to high school. Like I was really popular in high school. And then it used to be like you go off to college and nobody cares. And that was what like my parents would tell me.
Yeah.
And like my friends' parents would say to them like, no, look, nobody cares once you're in college, which was true to a point. But then now we have this system that was supposed to democratize exposure.
Yes.
And now it very much doesn't. And it very much does feel like you are playing a part in this like massive parade of a popularity contest, trying to get people to engage with your content, like your content, consume your content. And it's confusing. And I have to check myself quite a bit when I feel myself getting anxious that like a post hasn't performed or something hasn't done well. I get really like wrapped up in around like what Gen Z wants. And I am so not that at all.
Yeah.
And then I realized, well, no, like I'm speaking to I'm speaking to me. I'm speaking to women in their 30s, more often than not, their early 40s. Yeah. And that's where my life is. I'm not a 22-year-old doing that. Okay, have you seen the dance? This thing has me in a chokehold.
Which dance?
It's the song that's like radio, video, boogie on a suitcase.
I haven't been on TikTok that much because we're going to Beyonce and I'm trying really hard not to see any spoilers.
No, there's this girl that has perfect curly hair. She's like super thin, like that perfect cute face. She has like the nose ring and she does this like pop music, like this whole like dance thing.
We're gonna have to show people the video.
I'll make it a clip.
You look like you're what is that? Like you look like you have a top hat on that you're lifting up and down.
Hey. Yeah, like what is it, vaudeville? Like, hey, yeah, no, that's it's like pop music. Like she does this like dance. And I was watching it the other night, and then of course, like you see everybody else's videos. And this was a trend back beginning to mid-April, which on social media is like 100 years ago. But I was like, I literally haven't thought of like, I'm not that cool.
Yeah.
Like my aesthetic's not that cool. My vibe is not that cool. And that's okay. But there's still this currency. And I don't know if I'm like getting too like esoteric with it, but I think it's complex.
I mean, I'm fascinated by what you said about how it used to just be something in high school and maybe celebrities, I think you could argue. But other than that, like no one was doing that. And I think it is, especially since I became a mom, I feel like more like, I don't know, there's something about like the mom trope of like letting yourself go and not caring and blah, blah, blah. Like I'm a lot more aware of how maybe other generations see me because I imagine like my daughter being a different generation and like, what should I look like to be cool? She's like 2, so I have a lot of time.
Yeah, I think,
I think that that's like so interesting. And actually, I was listening. So Kate Kennedy, who we had on the podcast, we love her. And she's probably like the best person that analyzes this stuff all of the time. And her most recent podcast, it's called Can I Be a Bitch for a Second? It's with someone who talks about like, who wrote a book about gossiping essentially. And what was fascinating to me that she was talking about is that never before in history also have like all these different generations been exposed to and know what other generations think is cool. She was like talking about like when I was young, like my parents only knew about like what was cool from me. Where like now when we scroll on social media and you see like a 25-year-old influencer, they like can come across as your peer, even though they're not.
It's the fillers.
Yeah. And also like, I think we all think we're younger than we are when we like look at someone sometimes. The trends are a lot more like monoculture kind of even, and I'm interested in someone who's not our age who could maybe correct me. I think obviously Gen Z has different trends than millennials, but right, it's this whole idea of like chugginess and how, right, like millennials and older generations are trying to be in more style now because we're fed all these videos about how skinny jeans are awful and making fun of our style. So then we like try to get new stuff and we try to fit in there. And then by the time we do that, that's not in style anymore either. And I think that because of social media, I think people that were like in their 30s and 40s when it was our parents' age, like they weren't being told what was like in style. I think they would read like magazines maybe and stuff like that. But I don't think there were trends in their face in the same way where we're told all the time, like, this is uncool, this is chuggy.
It used to be that you were allowed the grace to be uncool once you reached a certain age. It was just expected that you're probably out of the loop. You're not meant to be young forever. you know, hopefully like you're aging with grace and style and developing your own like sense of style and what you like, whatever. But yeah, there wasn't this expectation from those of us that were younger that older people would completely understand how to behave.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have the expectations of my parents when I was a teenager. I just knew they were out of the loop.
Yes.
I just assumed that they were. My grandparents weren't even in the equation,
right?
Because they're like ancient when you're a kid.
Yep.
And you just go to them to hear how it once was, not to try to instruct them on what they should be now.
Right. Well, even she was talking about on the podcast how we all watch the same shows, which is right. Like when we were like, no one watched.
No.
Like there were teen shows. There were specific shows that you watched. And even though it was less in terms of like, I mean, I guess it's an interesting question because I know there's like, people say there is no monoculture anymore and like Taylor Swift transcended that. But there is also like, I don't know, it feels like there's more subculture, but there's also more monoculture. But it just seemed more like when we were growing up, there were certain shows that like teens watched and, you know, other people watched and some transcended. But because things are so fast, it's like instead it's just like we all watch the same show for a very brief period of time and then we all move on to the next show.
Well, it's also like if we're going to keep with the show route, like I remember being in high school, like One Tree Hill.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was like my age range.
Yeah. And your parents did not watch One Tree Hill.
No. And they didn't want to. Mm-hmm. And like I actually didn't watch it either. I didn't watch it either. But I
watched
knew
the OC. I was very obsessed with the OC.
But I knew of it.
Yeah.
And I could engage with my friends about it. But I did not expect to have any conversations with anybody older than me about that show. Like that was a teen-aged, maybe college-aged show. Like the farthest my mind expanded to people who could understand me was up to college.
Yeah.
But then by the time I got to somebody that was in college, I thought they were cool.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, you're older and you're in college and you're doing this and you're doing that. I think now it's this expectation that everybody older will assimilate to those who are younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this is like a thing unique to Gen Z, and I don't pretend to understand a Gen Z, but this is like my observation of Gen Z as someone who I would almost say is chronically online, aware of trends and things that are going on. What I observe is that there is an expectation from them that we will all, like from millennials up, bend to them. That like they have the answers, they have the understanding, they know how to do things, and we are all just a bunch of ancient dinosaurs because they were the first generation that was fully online from the time they were very small. Like there's a trend going on right now that's actually like hilarious. And it's like girls posting pictures of themselves at their like most awkward age, and they're like, me wondering why the lifeguard doesn't want a piece of this. And like, it's really funny.
I love that.
And they're saying like, but they're posting the photo and they're like, me in 2016. And they look like they're maybe about 13, 14 in some of those photos. And so that was like kind of jarring to me to be like, whoa, I was in grad school when you were posting this. And so that's kind of like humbling on my end. But yeah, I think it's like, it used to be, there was a time and a place for those things. There was a time and a place for popularity in high school. There was a time and a place for trends and being worried about those things. And I just remember women older than me would tell me, don't worry, like it gets better. You'll get to a point where you don't care. And I think women are saying that now.
Yeah.
There's still women older that are saying those things.
Yeah.
Yet, if you look at anybody who says that, and they have a social media platform, they're still kind of involved in trends. They're still caring about how they look and being up to date in how they dress. And I think we're in like a really fascinating like period of time.
Well, it's like what people say about how, right, like there aren't even really trends anymore because it's just like everything is trending at like the trends are so fast. They're like all happening at the same time. Like right now, every type of jeans, it seems, are in style. Like from the skinniest, because I've seen now some people wearing skinny jeans again, to like barrel jeans, to everything in between is like in style at the same time because it's coming and going so fast.
I think it's one thing to say like a certain style evolves or something evolves. Interests and style and design evolve. That's one thing. But right now, it's like 1 second something's in, and then 2 weeks later, you have somebody trying to have a hot take, controversial take on why it's ugly or like why it doesn't work. And then that shifts, and then something else happens, and then someone has a controversial hot take about it. And like we're just stuck in this constant cycle of not letting people live. Because everybody needs a take about something. And everybody is so desperate to assimilate, which also ties into like the more conservative lean that Gen Z is going towards.
But I don't understand what Gen Z, we sound like such old people.
I don't care.
I don't understand this generation.
Listen, I've worked fucking hard for this life experience, bitch. I'm going to talk about it.
I don't understand. One thing I don't understand, though, is it's so contradictory of they are so into having their – and I hate using the word they, but I don't know what else to say. They're all being very, very unique, right? And like different. And it's all about like having your own personal brand, which is complete opposite to millennials. Like I feel myself just – I can be I chameleon sometimes without meaning to chameleon. And then all of a sudden I leave a conversation and I'm like, shit, I just turned white to match this person. And I don't even believe what like I don't, not that I say things, but I won't push back on people a lot of times because it's just like it happens to me sometimes if I'm not like super in, especially if I don't know someone well and stuff like that. But where I think that I don't understand how you can need to be unique so much, but then everyone becomes the same in their like it seems very contradictory to me.
They want to be unique within the sameness, meaning they want it to all be easily identifiable, but they have their own spin on it.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. Like if I go back to like the mid 2010s, and that was about when you started to hear about like Gen Z.
Yeah.
Right. I never in a million years thought there would be so much animosity between our generations.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't even know who was a Gen X or anything like that either when I was younger. Yeah.
And they care so much about us.
They seem to really not like us. Have you seen some of the cute videos of like some Gen Zs people being like millennials had it right and like, I'm envious of millennials?
Yeah.
Like, thank you.
Thank you. And see, I think that I've seen that more and more kind of shifting because also the frame of mind that I take is father time is inevitable.
Yes.
Gen Alpha will eat Gen Z to filth.
Yeah.
That will happen. That is like the inevitable march of time. They will eventually have trends and styles and things that they'll look back on and be like, what were we thinking? Kind of similarly to how we had the blueprint for clothing.
Yeah.
Big, chunky plastic necklaces, tank tops under t-shirts, the strangest platforms you've ever seen in your life. Yep. We just like, and now you're seeing all of these things like come back and they're dressing like us.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this whole idea of like what is cool or what is not. I mean, I think you can't even define it anymore. Like, I think if you look to like rom-coms of like the early 2000s, there was such like a clear indicator of what that was and what that looked like and what that operated like.
Yeah.
That now, like, it's not even, you can't even compare the two. But then also, like, I'm even so removed from what like high schoolers would think right now. Like, I don't even know.
No, I don't either.
Part of the problem that I think is contributing to all of this is the amount of information that we are able to consume in such like a short period amount of time. I remember it used to be that, and this was even like pre-COVID. Like, I'm not even talking like back in 2002. Like, I think even pre-COVID, there were times where like a celebrity would die.
Yeah.
And someone might not know about it for a couple hours, for a day, for like, even in like the age of social media and information, like there was almost like a delay.
Mm-hmm.
Now we all find out everything in the same moment. And that is so overwhelming, not even just for news, but I think for this idea of trends, for this idea of keeping up with things in the world and where things are moving and where things are going. And now even like, I'm sure, you know, you get fed this in your FYP all the time. I'm now seeing people talking about like AI. Are you on top of AI? Are you integrating AI into your business? Are you integrating AI into how you operate? And blah, blah, blah. And then you feel this pressure of like, okay, like I have to be cool with AI. Like I have to know where AI is going.
Well, yeah, it's also, I think, this like technological revolution we're still in that's about, right, like they say we're moving into an AI revolution, which will be even faster and more compressed. And yeah, I think it is like fear also of, like being left behind, even if it's, you know, even beyond being cool or not. I think that there's a lot of fear that people have of what's going to happen. Like if I think too much about AI, my brain breaks a little bit.
I see it. Okay. Because I've had a couple of clients where we've had conversations about these things, this idea of like feeling overwhelmed, like with the world.
Yeah.
And I think it really can eat your mental health from the inside out.
Yeah.
If you let it.
Yeah.
And the approach that I've tried to take is I will make it work for me as best I can.
I like that.
But I'm not meant to like be a visionary in the AI field.
Really?
You know?
I feel like you should be.
There's a lot of things I could be really good at, and that's not one of them. Because I would be leaning on like, just because we can, should we?
Oh, I agree.
Should we really do that? I don't think we should.
We wanted to share really quickly that we have officially launched a Substack.
It's called Nuance Needed. We got really creative with the title. Yeah, we're just going to be posting all of our behind the scenes stuff there. We're going to have bonus episodes. I'm doing a lot of my longer pep talks on there, at least 2 a month.
And you also don't have to pay, like you can pay to get that extra content, but we also are excited to just create community with you all. And we've gotten into really cool discussions with listeners based on what they think. So we'd love to chat with you more.
Yeah, we know people are really lonely right now.
Yeah.
And, something that we really have always, Amanda and I have both always dreamed about doing is having more of a community of like-minded people where we can chat about things in depth and really get curious about what things mean and how we can apply it to ourselves individually. And that is really what we want our Substack to be. And us sharing the information and the tools and the insights that you guys need in order to be able to have those more nuanced, educated conversations.
Absolutely. So join us at nuanceneeded.substack.com, and we'd love to see you there. Before we started recording, you were talking about club culture, and I thought that was fascinating.
What I was going off on is I've seen content 2 ways. One, I've seen millennials being reflective of late 2000s, early 2010s club culture.
Yep.
And the masterful artistic masterpieces that came out of that time period of music and composition.
Music's so good. The only way I can describe it is I just want to snort it.
Oh, it just
like I just need to listen to levels all day. It's never enough.
No, but levels hits every time. There is never a moment where I hear that song and go, like every single time.
Or Dynamite.
Anything by Jason Derulo.
Yes.
Kesha.
Titanium. So good.
Yeah. So I've seen people being very reflective of that time because it was Obama was in the White House. Things were good. We were in college. We had low expectations. And I've seen in comment sections and in videos, people being reflective of how Gen Z doesn't have that. They didn't go through a club culture phase.
Yep.
And there's a lot of discussion around, well, we only had, digital cameras around our wrists that couldn't even
the wrists! I forgot about the wrists.
The wristlet. And and so they don't have that because they spent their childhood recording each other to embarrass each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they are so afraid of being embarrassed or being filmed doing something embarrassing that is not from their approval, right? Like going out on purpose to film content. They don't do that. And also, I think in some mild fairness to them, at the age they would have been doing that was COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that absolutely got taken from them. And I think that's something important to keep in mind that like, first of all, it radically aged millennials.
Yeah.
I think it bumped us 3 years farther than we were supposed to be.
Yep.
And then Gen Z missed out on that really pivotal period of time where you can just like be free and doing whatever you want and going out. And I think there was a very serious tone between like Me Too, Black Lives Matter, people dying in this pandemic, the political climate. Like, I think there are a lot of other factors at play, but Gen Z just didn't have a club culture.
Yeah.
And something that I find really fascinating too is because of where I grew up in Utah, there's no clubs. I've gone clubbing a handful of times. It was very fun. I did very much enjoy it. But it was not something like every weekend I'm going out and going dancing, whatever. Like I didn't have that. So I look back on it with this like really empowered nostalgia of like, oh my God, like what I know now, that would have been fucking incredible to do like consistently. And I feel bad that like Gen Z didn't have the chance to do that and like be so unbothered and unconcerned with like filming it and getting the right photo and having the right like caption and the right take and the right this and the right that. And I do like, I feel bad, even though like I'm not that much older than them. I feel like we as millennials got like a very specific level of freedom that Gen Z didn't get and that they still don't have. And I think in how millennials live, we still live that way, right? Like we don't care. We do things. You think I'm chuggy, fine, whatever. Like I don't care. But Gen Z very much cares. And they very much care what we're doing. And they very much care what we're not doing. And I do think, like you said earlier, there are some creators that are starting to point out like, or maybe millennials are just people who happen to be in their 30s and are tired because they're working and raising families and living their lives. But yeah, that whole club culture thing is like fascinating to me. Fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny when I think back on it too, because I had such like, I feel like a unique club culture that existed in my college where all the frats were allowed to have houses. None of the sororities were allowed to have houses.
What? How does that work?
The sororities would meet in large spaces to do chapter where the guys all of them had a house. And the guys were all allowed to throw parties and serve alcohol and the girls wouldn't. So the girls would have like, you would have your social like off campus somewhere. But every weekend the frats would all have parties. And since no one lived in this house, it was just literally an empty shack.
Oh my God.
On a road that
chaos reigns supreme.
Literally, it was just an empty shack, and everyone had, they had like a porch outside, and they would have a platform inside, and it was literally it was dancing. All you did was all they did was you would go and you would drink and you would dance and be really sweaty in this like shack. And there were multiple shacks all in a row and you would like hop and, you would go from frat party to frat party. But it was like, I think because of the weirdness of that, because they didn't live in a house where there was like a kitchen and there were places to hang out, everyone just danced or you would sit outside. It was wild, but it was so fun. I mean, granted, it would have been more fun if I wasn't a raging alcoholic who was addicted to Adderall, but starving myself, but it was really fun.
And there's so few spaces now where I think like everybody's on the same playing field. This whole like concept of like what is cool, and going back to what you said earlier, maybe we're the wrong people to be even commenting on this because I'm not. I'm very much not. I never have been. To be reflective on my experience because I knew I wasn't this like automatic definition of like cool.
Yeah.
I've tried really hard to like cultivate this authenticity and that like who I am is who I am with everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's very mature of you for your age. I was not that way at all.
I don't know if it was like the trauma of like caregiving, like a special needs brother, like anything that, but I also think I did like kind of come baked.
I came baked, but I did not accept that in myself. Like one of my best friends, Lex, who we'll have on the podcast at some point because he is an urban planner and he's going to talk to us about third spaces. He said something to me once that is my like motto of how I understand myself is he said, Amanda looks like the most basic girl you've ever fucking met. And he said this to me like 10 years ago when I was like 25. But inside, she is not basic at all. And all she wants to do is like talk about like what keeps you up at night and how we're going to all die and all these really deep concepts.
It's very
and he's
dark,
always like, your insides and your outsides do not match whatsoever. And that really helped me actually like contextualize my life because it is how I felt growing up is like, I should be friends with these people. I was able to because of like, honestly, my thin privilege and pretty privilege. Like I got into a good sorority. I mean, my mom was also happened to be in a good sorority, but like, I had no friends in my sorority. Like no one wanted to be friends with me. Like it was things like that where I could look the part, I could fit in, but I never actually did.
I looked like Gimli from Lord of the Rings. And I knew that. And there were so many boys that like I had crushes on and would really like, and nobody ever liked me back. I mean, of course, like it did happen as I got older, but how I coped with it, it's just so fascinating. How I coped with it was kind of like, okay, I have to be like put together. Like because I don't have these kind of like more typical traits that bring friends in, I kind of leaned into like, okay, the one thing that I can give is that I actually am like a really good friend. And so I just have to be really authentic. And I kind of was like, I watched the History Channel. Like, if you think that's fun, let's be friends. I guess maybe I'm lucky that I took the time to cultivate like this deep understanding of myself. But I think the negative side of that is I became very mature and responsible very quick. And I didn't allow myself that space to be kind of like chaotic and messy. I didn't have that season. Which is why
I had it that my true self was being popular and that there was something flawed and broken in me. That I kept thinking these things, which essentially was like mental health problems. Also,
I was like, unwell.
Right, exactly. And then I knew I was like broken in terms of my eating disorder and social anxiety and things like that. But drinking kind of became this way of like, oh, I can bridge the gap. It'll allow me to be more outgoing and be more cool. And that was why I got so addicted to drinking. I literally would tell myself like, it lets me be who I really am, which is like the most insane concept. Or even with Adderall, I would be like, it allows me to be skinny, which is like who I am meant to be.
Well, it's the mental gymnastics of justifying the behavior. Yeah, it was like in this weird twisted way, they were like your coping skills to getting what you wanted, but then thinking they were kind of like a balancing each other out. Like this ends justify the means kind of thing. Like, well, all of this is fine because it's helping me like lean into my true identity of being this person. But then if someone were to say to you, well, what is that person? You would be like, it doesn't matter. But it's that,
it's being cool. I literally would have probably said that because that was all I wanted. And that was really what I saw also, especially when drinking, like I was way too, like before I started drinking, I was so anxious about drinking because deep down I was also a good girl for a long time and like very perfectionistic, but I hated that about myself. So I wanted to like discard it. And alcohol also became a way to like not be anxious about how much I was drinking or what I was doing or if I was hooking up with tons of guys or things like that in this interesting way. Because like the cool girls didn't care about that.
And then I think at the root of it, like we all care. I think maybe that's something that I kind of accepted too was like I did care, but I knew it didn't matter. It didn't change.
You're very wise for your age, Sam. I mean, I was like obsessed with, I pretended to love sports for so many years. It truly wasn't until I got into recovery that I gave up on being cool.
I just knew, even if I behaved in that way, it wouldn't matter. Like, I think for me, I just knew that I wasn't. Anytime that a guy has had feelings for me, it's because they got to know me.
Well, that's good. Well, I don't, it's good. I mean, but what's so funny, Sam, is I have the opposite. I was like, anytime a guy didn't like me, which is always, is that they got to know me. Like, they liked what I looked like from far away, and then they were like, this girl is not well.
I also think, like, I have had my friends call me out and be like, you are being like way too unfair to yourself.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
But I think part of the issue was I had a lot of trauma around guys, and I was rejected a few times in like a really, really painful way.
Yeah.
And so like the way I just learned was like, well, like I just have to be who I am and pray that one day like someone will want to watch documentaries with me. Now, granted, like I will have to say, it's been a long time since I've like really, really put myself out there. So like I have that perspective. This is not me sitting here saying like, oh my God, I'm going to die alone. Like, I don't believe that. But I think to kind of think of this idea of cool, I just had this very deep understanding from the time of being like 11 or 12 that I'm like, yeah, that ain't me.
But I think that's so interesting that you were able to like have that awareness and acceptance where I was like,
you fought it. You fought it really hard.
Like,
yeah.
I will kill myself, which I literally was.
Trying to.
In the pursuit of all that matters is what it looks like on the outside. So the other thing I was thinking about in all of this conversation of Cool Girl is the incredibly iconic Cool Girl monologue from Gone Girl. Have you heard about this before? Have you heard this? I'm sure you have. I haven't listened to it in a while, but I'm going to play it and let's see what comes up for us.
Nick loved a girl I was pretending to be. Cool girl. Men always use that, don't they, as their defining compliment. She's a cool girl. Cool girl is hot. Cool girl is game. Cool girl is fun. Cool girl never gets angry at her man. She only smiles in a chagrin-loving manner and then presents her mouth for fucking. She likes what he likes, so evidently he's a vinyl hipster who loves fetish manga. If he likes girls gone wild, she's a mall babe who talks football and endures buffalo wings at Hooters. When I met Nick Dunn, I knew he wanted cool girl. And for him, I'll admit, I was willing to try. I wax-stripped my pussy raw. I drank canned beer watching Adam Sandler movies. I ate cold pizza and remained a size 2. I blew it, semi-regularly. I lived in the moment. I was fucking game. I can't say I didn't enjoy some of it. Nick teased out in me things I didn't know existed. A lightness, a humor, an ease. But I made him smarter, sharper. I inspired him to rise to my level. I forged the man of my dreams.
This opens up a whole other can of worms. Mm-hmm. I saw this fascinating TikTok about this girl breaking down the fourth wave of feminism that we're in. And it is literally like that. This idea that we are like reckoning with, we have made progress while still obeying the laws of patriarchy. And women have not been free for very long. In Western culture, we really haven't. And it's still like this, first of all, men crashing out over the fact that women are becoming so successful and running things more and more often and running things better than they are.
Yeah.
And us starting, like so many women deciding they are decentering men. They're no longer dating. They're no longer interested in being married, period. That we are starting this recognition of we've made a lot of progress, but we cannot continue to make progress under these same lenses.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and this reckoning that this patriarchy is not only hurting women because now women feel that they can't have the partnerships that they want to have because men are not able to flourish and develop into becoming partners and men that can live that way.
Yeah.
They are being stunted emotionally and they are being harmed emotionally by things like the manosphere and this resurgence of the worst forms of patriarchy and white supremacy and sexism and misogyny and all these sort of things. And that monologue, even though it's from 12 years or 11 years ago now, is so poignant to today. This reflection of so often than not, cool is framed through this patriarchal lens.
Yeah.
This patriarchal lens of exactly like you described, you behaved. It was the pick me.
Yeah.
It was the my interests don't matter. My job is to conform and merge to this amorphous blob that just picks up and reflects whatever it's around. Yeah. Because it's not, nobody is interested in me having thoughts. Nobody's interested in me having opinions. My job is to be what someone else tells me to be, i.e. more often than not, men.
Yeah. And
that was like, when I was listening to that was like the thing that was coming up in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so interesting how if you look, right, if you don't look farther enough back, cool girl is just something women do to other women. And it's someone else is setting the standard. But if you then go back, it is actually within the patriarchy. And it's actually extends from what men want. Because, right, like, to be cool among other women, you need to be liked and have a high value partner or be liked by men. So men are sort of a lot of the deciders of what is cool. And it's also why these impossible, I think in some way, double standards exist of you have to be able to be casual enough and drink beer and not care about what you're eating and not be too high maintenance because that's not fun. But then you need to also be skinny, right? And it's some of these like double standards with that where you even look at like men being cool is like not tied at all in a lot of ways to how they look. Every friend group had men in it that were cool, popular guys that were not attractive or were not in good shape, but they were funny and they had other things.
It's just so layered. And I think even like while we were listening to that and you were just sharing your thoughts, like I was thinking back to everything that we've chatted about in this episode, which is this idea of like, I am not someone that's like, let's just blame men for everything because it's not that simple.
Yeah.
And the reason so many men are suffering right now and are so lonely, and the reason why so many women are feeling so defeated in being able to find a partner or, you know, find someone that they feel is on their level is because we are all being harmed by these toxic ideas that one, there is only one way to be.
Yeah.
That there's only one right way to be, that there has to be conformity in order to have success, that you have to behave a certain way, look a certain way, operate a certain way in order to be taken seriously, to have the type of like capitalistic vision of success that is driven. And also the patriarchal vision of having the house and the white picket fence and 2.5 kids. And I think the reason why trends come and go so quickly is because we can realize that that trend doesn't achieve that thing. And so we all implement it. We all wear barrel jeans and we all like, you know, do stupid things. And then we realize like, oh, nothing was fixed. And then fall comes around and they're like, here is the leopard print ox blood like loafer that you need for, and then we do that. And then that doesn't work. And then next thing you know, it's spring and there's something else and there's a new way to behave. And for the longest time you needed to get fillers. And now people are dissolving their fillers because they realize that, you know, oh, it's not good. And I got it overdone. But then we were telling people to embrace their bodies. And now we're saying you can order Ozempic online for free by just answering a bunch of questions online. And really what's happening is we're just like desperately chasing this ability to feel accepted and involved and have like a community that accepts us. And that if we do all of these things, maybe that will happen. Mm-hmm. But then the trends come and go because the trends don't change the root problem.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we jump on trends even if we don't like the trend. So it's very easy to abandon a trend because you're like, I didn't buy this because I like this anyway.
Right. And I think that's why like the Nancy Meyers aesthetic is such a big deal right now. Mm-hmm. But the reason why Nancy Meyers works is look at The Holiday.
Yeah.
I would live in Cameron Diaz's home right now. Like, it is a classic, beautiful, timeless design. Yeah. And I think so many people love that right now because we're chasing after that idea of like, is there something that could have longevity in my life?
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I going to have to be, and maybe I should speak to myself. Sometimes I look at these trends and I think to myself, like, am I going to have to be chasing this for the rest of my life? Am I going to have to be like constantly adjusting and adapting, which I think in some ways you have to. That's life. You're supposed to change and evolve and grow. But to have it be so fast and so quick all the time in this whiplash of like, you want wide leg pants. No, you want straight leg pants. Mm-hmm. No, you want to be curvy and big and strong. No, you want to be thin and waif-like and, you know, like embrace your thinness. And it's just so confusing and frustrating. And I can't change the fact that I am 5'2" and have a very muscular build and I can put on muscle like that. Mm-hmm. I can't change that. I can't change the fact that I have incredibly curly hair. I mean, technically I can, but the second I shower, the curly hair comes back. Mm-hmm. And so this like constant pursuit of cool is just this constant pursuit of chasing this ephemeral goal that I don't think anybody can tag. And when I think people are looking at Nancy Meyers or thinking of like classic dressing or, you know, even like the old money, right? Mm-hmm. Like that was the code of old money, right? Is like classic generational trends. Everybody is trying to find something that feels stable in a world that feels like it's unrecognizable from day to day, that things are constantly changing. And everybody needs a hot take. Everybody needs a controversial point that is just constantly changing and shifting. And this was cool, but it's not cool anymore. But then it's cool again. And then you were the problem if you ever followed the fact that it was cool, not cool, cool.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, we're all just left exhausted.
Yeah.
And so many people just tune out and they don't care because it's too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
I think we bleated on enough about the idea of cool and how we're not cool and we tried to be cool, but we're not cool. And that's okay.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. If you like the podcast, if you could help us out and rate and review it. We've gotten some negative comments as we've reached more people, which is exciting.
It's exciting.
And we're happy about it. But we want to make sure this podcast is something you like and that we're
on the right track.
And thanks for a lot of you all have reached out to us on Instagram, which has been super helpful. As we share vulnerable things, like especially I think Sam sharing about her Mormon upbringing and leaving and stuff like that, we know we're going to get more negative reviews. So if you like the show, please rate, review 5 stars. It helps so much.
Yep. And share with someone. If you think there's someone else in your life that would like to listen to us bleed on and you want to chat with them about the things we chat about, we would absolutely love that. So feel free to share. And as always, we have Substack as well. If you want to get some more long form content and hear more about that, we'd love to see you over there.
We'll see you next week.